Many people in this world have their fates predetermined, their lifespans determined by the laws of life and death. Some people live very long lives, but did you know that sometimes a person's life might be borrowed by someone else? When someone suddenly dies, it's very possible they died in someone else's place. I met such a person. There was a woman named Xie Fang, and her husband was named Huang Yuanhong. One night, Huang Yuanhong was watching TV in the living room, while Xie Fang went to bed. Around 2 a.m., when Xie Fang got up to use the bathroom, her husband was still watching TV. She called him back to bed, but he didn't respond. Xie Fang went to him and found him motionless, with his eyes closed. She gently pushed him, and he collapsed, seemingly dead, yet still breathing and having a pulse. He was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with paralysis, a strange illness. The doctor said they had encountered similar cases before, where someone could become paralyzed while sitting at home. Huang Yuanhong lay in the hospital for a month without waking up. Later, Xie Fang's friend introduced me to her. I asked her to bring her husband home, so it would be easier for me to handle some matters. Then I saw Xie Fang's husband, Huang Yuanhong, lying in bed. Like the other cases I'd encountered before where the 3 souls were missing, he needed a soul summoning ritual. He hadn't woken up for over a month, which meant his soul was still there. Because some lost souls never return, and the spirit body dissipates, at which point the person dies. The soul summoning ritual simply involves carrying a lantern, scattering rice, and chanting incantations. Wandering soul, dwell and remain. 3 souls descend early. 7 spirits arrive, riverbanks and fields, temples and villages, palaces and prisons, graves and forests, false alarms and strange occurrences, lost souls. I chanted for a day without success, and only after 5 consecutive days did I see some improvement. It seemed his soul's loss was quite strange. On the 7th day, his soul was called back. He suddenly sat up in bed, drenched in sweat, his clothes soaked through, as if he'd fallen into water. Strangely, he excreted feces and urine together. He cried out that he was starving, then lay back down, panting heavily, saying he was suffocating. We gave him rice porridge, and he slowly regained consciousness. Then, I told him to put a chopstick in his mouth. 3 minutes later, I took it out, and found the part in his mouth was very black. The next day, when he had recovered a little, I asked him if he remembered what had happened. He said he remembered watching TV that day, and in a daze, he walked out of the house to a deserted riverbank. Suddenly, everything went dark. He couldn't see any stars above or any pebbles or grass below. Finally, he saw someone carrying a lantern ahead. As they approached, he saw a disheveled man. The lantern's flame was blue. The man told Huang Yuanhong to carry the lantern home and pointed to a green light ahead, telling him that was the way home. But Huang Yuanhong was a cautious man. He didn't take the lantern, but instead walked alone towards the light. He kept walking and walking, not knowing how long he walked, or even when he got tired. He couldn't find his way home, and after what seemed like an eternity, he heard someone calling his name, saw a light, and felt warmth. He ran towards the light, and finally, his vision brightened, and he woke up. I told him, "You've been delirious for over a month, didn't you know?" He lay in bed, speechless with surprise. Based on Huang Yuanhong's account, I guessed he had most likely encountered a ghost master trying to exchange his life for someone else's. Luckily, he hadn't taken the lantern from the disheveled man. If he had, he would have been gone forever, and he would probably be dead by now. What is a ghost master? In Chinese folklore, there's a profession called a ghost master, who takes the soul of a living person to replace the soul of a dying person. If a seriously ill person's family pays a real ghost master, they can exchange their life for the dying person's. To prolong life, an innocent person must be found to take the place of the sick person in the underworld, a truly despicable profession. It is said that before performing the ritual, the sorcerer must first test the patient. He goes to the home of the seriously ill person, pours a bowl of water, covers the rim with yellow paper, and then turns it upside down. The paper won't fall off, and the water won't spill. He then places the bowl on 2 chopsticks stuck into the wall. The old mud walls of rural China were easy to insert. If the water doesn't spill overnight, the ritual can be performed the next day. During the ritual, the sorcerer sets up an altar, his hair disheveled, performing ritualistic steps. After chanting incantations, at night, he uses a sword to pierce some paper money, carries a lantern, and goes to the wilderness to call out to the patient's spirit. If a sleeping person hears his voice, the spirit will rise and walk to the sorcerer. After walking for a while, the sorcerer hands the lantern to the spirit. The spirit takes the lantern and, following the sorcerer's instructions, walks towards the light. The ritual is then considered successful. The light the sorcerer pointed to was the path to the underworld. The lantern bore the underworld registration document from the sorcerer's ritual. Once you went there, you could never return. After the sorcerer returned, the seriously ill would recover, while the person whose soul had been summoned would die. This was a curse paying money to exchange for the life of an innocent person, a particularly despicable act. However, Huang Yuanhong didn't take the lantern, indicating the sorcerer's ritual had failed. A single ritual can only summon one soul. If the summoned soul doesn't take the lantern, the ritual fails. The employer who wanted to exchange lives could no longer do so. No amount of money could save him. The sorcerer's magic was broken, and the sorcerer, having had his magic broken, would be banned from the profession for 3 years. So, if someone offers you a lantern at night, never take it. It might be a sorcerer performing a ritual to exchange lives for someone else.